Maria stood in front of her small bakery on River Street, watching the sunrise paint the sky orange and pink. She was 65 years old now, with flour permanently under her fingernails and laugh lines around her eyes. Today was the last day her bakery would be open. Tomorrow a big company would take over the building. But Maria wasn't sad. She was grateful, because this bakery had given her everything. She unlocked the door and went inside, breathing in the familiar smell of bread and cinnamon. As she began preparing the dough for her final batch of bread, memories flooded her mind, and she began to remember her story. Maria grew up in a tiny apartment above a laundromat. Her mother had died when Maria was just 5 years old, leaving her father Roberto to raise 3 children alone. Roberto worked 2 jobs, cleaning offices at night and washing dishes at a restaurant during the day. Money was always tight. Some days they ate only rice and beans. Some days they didn't eat at all. Maria remembered being 8 years old, sitting in school with an empty stomach. The other children had nice lunches, sandwiches, fruit, cookies. Maria had nothing. She was so hungry that she couldn't focus on her lessons. Her teacher, Mrs. Peterson, noticed. One day, Mrs. Peterson asked Maria to stay after class. Maria was scared. She thought she was in trouble. But instead, Mrs. Peterson opened her lunch bag and said, "Maria, I made too much food today. Would you help me eat it? I hate to waste food." Maria knew Mrs. Peterson was lying. She knew the teacher had brought extra food just for her. But Mrs. Peterson's kindness saved Maria's pride. From that day forward, Mrs. Peterson always had too much food, and Maria always helped her eat it. That simple act of dignity, helping Maria without making her feel ashamed, taught Maria something powerful. Kindness wasn't just about giving. It was about giving with love, with respect, with understanding. Mrs. Peterson showed Maria that helping someone could make them feel valuable, not worthless. Years later, when Maria opened her own bakery, she remembered this lesson. She always kept a basket by the door with day-old bread. Though often it was perfectly fresh, marked free for anyone who needs it. She never asked questions. She never made anyone feel small. She just gave with the same dignity Mrs. Peterson had shown her. When Maria was 15, something terrible happened. Her father, Roberto, collapsed at work. The doctors said his heart was damaged from years of stress and exhaustion. He needed expensive medicine and rest. But rest meant not working. And not working meant no money for food or rent. Maria's older brother, Carlos, was 17. He decided to drop out of school to work full-time. Maria begged him not to. "You're so smart, Carlos. You need to finish school." But Carlos just hugged her and said, "Family comes first. Always." Maria watched her brother give up his dreams to save their family. He worked at a factory doing hard physical labor for long hours. His hands became rough and scarred. His back started to hurt. But he never complained. Every week, he brought his paycheck home and gave it all to their father for medicine and food. Roberto cried when he saw what his son was doing. "Carlos, please go back to school." "I'll be okay," he said. But Carlos shook his head. "Papa, you sacrificed everything for us. Now it's my turn to sacrifice for you. This is what family does." Maria saw the pain in both their eyes, her father's guilt and her brother's determination. She was too young to work legally, but she found ways to help. She babysat neighbors' children. She cleaned houses after school. She sold homemade cookies on the street corner. Every penny she earned she brought home. One evening, Roberto called his children together. His eyes were wet with tears. "Look at what you're doing for me," he said. Carlos gave up school. "Maria works like an adult when she should be playing with friends. I don't deserve such beautiful children." "Papa," Maria said, holding his hand, "you taught us that love means sacrifice. You worked 2 jobs for years so we could have food and a home. You gave us everything. Now we're just giving back." Roberto pulled his children close and whispered, "Promise me something. Promise me that when I'm gone you'll remember this. The greatest wealth in life isn't money. It's family. It's standing together when times are hard. It's loving each other even when everything else falls apart." Maria and Carlos promised. And they kept that promise for the rest of their lives. Her father's illness and her brother's sacrifice taught Maria about true love. The kind that gives without counting the cost. The kind that puts others before yourself. The kind that holds families together when everything tries to tear them apart. Roberto slowly got better. But the medical bills left the family deep in debt. They were 3 months behind on rent. And the landlord threatened to evict them. Maria was 17 now. And she lay awake every night worrying about where they would live. One morning Maria found an envelope slipped under their apartment door. Inside was enough money to pay all their back rent, plus 3 months ahead. There was also a note that said, "You are not alone. Someone is watching over you." Maria ran to her father, waving the envelope. "Papa! Look! It's a miracle!" Roberto counted the money with shaking hands. He couldn't believe it. They looked for clues about who had left this gift, but there were none. The next month it happened again. Another envelope with money for rent. And the month after that, another one. This continued for 6 months until Roberto was well enough to return to work part-time. Maria's family never discovered who their mysterious benefactor was. They called this person their angel. This angel didn't just give them money. They gave them hope during the darkest time of their lives. They showed Maria's family that good people existed in the world. People who helped strangers expecting nothing in return. This experience planted a seed in Maria's heart. She made a silent promise. "One day when I have enough, I will be someone else's angel. I will help people the way we were helped. I will give hope to those who have none." 20 years later, Maria kept this promise. When she had her bakery and made enough money to save a little, she started looking for families in need. She would secretly pay someone's electric bill. She would leave groceries on a struggling family's doorstep. She would slip money into the church donation box marked, "For families in crisis." She always did it anonymously, just like her angel had done for her. Maria learned that being an angel didn't require being rich. It just required being aware of others' pain and doing something about it. Even small acts could change someone's entire life. When Maria turned 18, she got a job at a bakery owned by an old woman named Mrs. Chen. Mrs. Chen was 70 years old from China, and she made the most beautiful bread Maria had ever seen. The bakery was small and always busy with customers who loved Mrs. Chen's creations. Maria started as a cleaner, sweeping floors and washing dishes. But she was fascinated by the baking. She would watch Mrs. Chen work, the way her experienced hands kneaded the dough, the way she knew exactly when the bread was perfectly baked just by the smell. One day Mrs. Chen noticed Maria watching. "You want to learn?" she asked in her accented English. Maria nodded eagerly. "Yes, please. More than anything." Mrs. Chen smiled. "Good. I teach you. But baking is not just about following recipe. Baking is about love. You put your heart into the dough, and people taste it in the bread. You understand." Maria didn't fully understand then, but she nodded anyway. Mrs. Chen began teaching her everything: how to mix ingredients, how to knead dough, how to shape loaves, how to control oven temperature. But more than techniques, Mrs. Chen taught Maria about passion and purpose. "Maria," Mrs. Chen said one day, "you have gift. Your hands are gentle with the dough. You pay attention to small details. But most important, you care. You care about making something good. This is rare. Many people work just for money, but you work with love. Never lose this." Maria worked at Mrs. Chen's bakery for 7 years. During this time she learned not just how to bake but why to bake. Mrs. Chen explained that bread was sacred in many cultures because it represented life, community, and sharing. "When you make bread," she said, "you're not just making food. You're making something that brings people together around the table. You're making something that feeds both body and soul." This philosophy changed how Maria saw her work. She wasn't just mixing flour and water. She was creating something meaningful. Every loaf of bread could bring joy to someone's day. Every cookie could make a child smile. Every cake could help celebrate a precious moment. When Mrs. Chen turned 77, she called Maria into her office. "I'm too old now," she said. I want to retire and go back to China to see my family before I die. I want to sell bakery to you." Maria was shocked. "But Mrs. Chen, I don't have money to buy a bakery." Mrs. Chen smiled wisely. "I don't want much money. I want someone who loves baking like I do. I want someone who will take care of my customers like family. You pay me small amount each month, okay? The bakery is yours." Maria cried and hugged Mrs. Chen. This generous offer changed Maria's entire life. She was going to own a bakery. Her dream was coming true. But more than that, Mrs. Chen's trust and belief in her gave Maria confidence she had never had before. Maria poured her heart into the bakery. She woke up at 4 every morning to start baking. She experimented with new recipes. She learned her customers' names and their favorite items. She remembered birthdays and special occasions. The bakery became more than a business. It became a gathering place, a community hub, a second home for many people. But running a business was hard. Some months, Maria barely made enough to pay the bills and send money to Mrs. Chen. She worked 7 days a week, 16 hours a day. Her hands hurt. Her feet ached. She was exhausted all the time. One particularly difficult month, Maria didn't have enough money to pay her rent and her payment to Mrs. Chen. She sat in the empty bakery late at night, crying. "I'm going to fail," she whispered. "I'm going to lose everything." The next morning, something unexpected happened. Mr. Thomas, one of her regular customers, came in with an envelope. "Maria," he said, "I own the building next door. My business did well this year, and I want to invest in local businesses. I'd like to give you an interest-free loan to help you grow your bakery. You can pay me back whenever you're able." Maria was stunned. "Mr. Thomas, why would you do this for me?" He smiled. "Because I believe in you. Because your bread brings joy to this whole neighborhood. Because good people deserve help. And because someone once helped me when I was starting out, and I promised to pass that help forward." There it was again, the circle of kindness. Someone helped Mr. Thomas, so he helped Maria. And Maria promised herself she would help someone else when she could. With Mr. Thomas's help, Maria expanded the bakery. She hired 2 employees, both young people from struggling families just like she had been. She paid them fairly and taught them baking skills that could help them build their own futures. Maria was 32 years old and had been so focused on her bakery that she never thought about romance. Then one autumn day, a man named Daniel walked into her shop. Daniel was a carpenter who had just moved to the neighborhood. He was quiet and kind, with gentle eyes and calloused hands from his work. He ordered a coffee and a piece of apple pie. When he tasted the pie, his face lit up. "This is incredible," he said. "This tastes like home." Maria smiled. "That's the best compliment a baker can receive." Daniel came back the next day and the day after that. Soon he was coming to the bakery every morning before work. He and Maria would talk while she prepared the day's bread. They talked about their dreams, their families, their pasts. Daniel told Maria about his own struggles. His parents had died when he was young, and he grew up in foster care, moving from home to home. He never felt like he belonged anywhere. He taught himself carpentry by watching videos and practicing constantly. Now he made beautiful furniture and repaired homes. Maria shared her story too. Her childhood poverty, her father's illness, her mysterious angel, Mrs. Chen's generosity. Daniel listened with such attention and care that Maria felt truly seen for the first time in her life. One morning, Daniel arrived at the bakery with something in his hands. "I made this for you," he said shyly. It was a beautiful wooden sign with the words Maria's Bakery, carved in elegant letters. "I noticed you didn't have a proper sign," he explained. "Every business deserves a good sign." Maria touched the smooth wood, tears in her eyes. The sign was perfect. But more than the gift itself, she was moved by the thoughtfulness behind it. Daniel had paid attention. He had noticed something she needed. He had used his skills to create something beautiful for her. "Thank you," she whispered. "This is the most wonderful gift anyone has ever given me." Daniel looked at her with those gentle eyes and said, "Maria, I come to this bakery every day not just for the bread. I come because of you. You're the kindest, strongest, most beautiful person I've ever met. Would you like to have dinner with me? Maria's heart filled with warmth. Yes, she said, smiling. I would like that very much. Their love grew slowly and steadily like bread rising. There was no dramatic moment, no grand gesture. Just two people who had both struggled in life, finding comfort and joy in each other. They understood each other's pain. They celebrated each other's strength. They built something together based on mutual respect and genuine affection. A year later, Daniel proposed to Maria in the bakery, early in the morning before anyone else arrived. Maria, he said, you've taught me what home feels like. Wherever you are, that's where I belong. Will you marry me? Maria said yes without hesitation. They had a small wedding in a park, surrounded by the people from their neighborhood. The customers, the friends, the community they had both come to love. It wasn't fancy or expensive, but it was perfect because it was filled with real love and real people who genuinely cared about them. Maria and Daniel had 10 beautiful years together. They didn't have children, but they had each other, their work, and their community. Daniel built furniture in a workshop behind the bakery, and Maria baked her bread. They were happy. Then, when Maria was 43, Daniel got sick. It started with tiredness, then headaches. Then one day he collapsed. The doctors ran tests and gave them devastating news. Daniel had a brain tumor. It was very serious. The next 2 years were the hardest of Maria's life. She watched the man she loved become weaker and weaker. Daniel had surgery, then chemotherapy, then radiation. Nothing worked. The tumor kept growing. Maria closed the bakery for the first time in 10 years so she could take care of Daniel. She was with him every moment. Feeding him, bathing him, reading to him, holding his hand. She watched him lose weight, lose his hair, lose his strength. I'm sorry, Daniel whispered one night, tears running down his thin face. I'm sorry I'm leaving you. I'm sorry I can't give you more time. Maria held him close. Don't apologize. You gave me the best years of my life. You taught me what love really means. I'm grateful for every single day we had together. Daniel died on a Tuesday morning, with Maria holding his hand and the sunrise coming through the window. His last words were, "Thank you for loving me. Thank you for making me feel like I belong somewhere." After Daniel's death, Maria fell into deep grief. She couldn't eat. She couldn't sleep. She didn't want to open the bakery. She didn't want to see anyone. She felt like half of herself had died with Daniel. Her brother Carlos came to stay with her. He had his own family now, but he dropped everything to take care of his sister, just like she had helped their family years ago. Maria, he said gently, I know it hurts. I know you want to disappear. But Daniel wouldn't want this. He would want you to live, not just exist. I don't know how, Maria sobbed. Everything reminds me of him. The bakery reminds me of him. This house reminds me of him. Even the sunrise reminds me of him. Carlos held her while she cried. Then let those reminders be beautiful, not painful. Daniel was a gift in your life. Honor that gift by continuing to live the way he would want you to, with kindness, with purpose, with love. Those words slowly began to heal Maria's broken heart. She realized that grief was just love with nowhere to go. She still loved Daniel. She would always love Daniel. But that love didn't have to paralyze her. It could inspire her to live more fully, to love more deeply, to appreciate every moment because life was so precious and so short. 3 months after Daniel died, Maria reopened the bakery. It was hard. Every day was hard. But she did it. She baked bread. She served customers. She smiled even when she wanted to cry. And slowly, very slowly, the joy started to come back. Not the same as before. Nothing would ever be the same, but a different kind of joy. A quieter joy. A deeper joy that came from surviving the worst pain and choosing to keep going anyway. After losing Daniel, Maria understood suffering in a new way. She could recognize pain in others' eyes because she had felt that same pain herself. This understanding made her even more compassionate. One day, a young woman named Sophie came into the bakery. She was about 25, thin and tired looking. She ordered the cheapest item on the menu, a plain roll. As Maria gave her the roll, she noticed tears in Sophie's eyes. "Are you okay, dear?" Maria asked gently. Sophie shook her head. "No, I'm not okay. But I will be. I have to be. My husband just left me. I have a 2-year-old daughter, no job and no money. I'm staying at a shelter. But I came here because someone told me this bakery has free bread sometimes, and I'm so hungry." Maria's heart broke. She saw herself in this young woman, young, scared, struggling, alone. She immediately packed a large bag with bread, pastries, sandwiches, and fruit. "Here," she said. "Please take this. And come back tomorrow. I might have a job for you if you're interested." Sophie looked at the bag of food, then at Maria with disbelief. "Why are you being so kind to me? You don't even know me." Maria smiled softly. "Because someone was kind to me when I had nothing. Because I know what it feels like to be hungry and scared. Because helping you honors the memory of all the people who helped me. That's reason enough." The next day Sophie returned. Maria hired her to work in the bakery. She taught Sophie how to make coffee, how to serve customers, and eventually how to bake. Sophie was a hard worker, grateful for the opportunity. She saved money and got her own apartment. She brought her little daughter, Lily, to the bakery sometimes, and Maria would give the child cookies and teach her how to roll dough. 3 years later, Sophie had learned so much that she got a job at a fancy restaurant as a pastry chef. On her last day at Maria's bakery, she hugged Maria tightly. "You saved my life," she said. "You gave me hope when I had none. You taught me that I was capable and valuable. I'll never forget what you did for me." "Just promise me one thing," Maria said. "Promise me that when you're successful and you see someone struggling, you'll help them the way I helped you. That's how we change the world. One person helping another." Sophie promised with her whole heart. Years passed. Maria was now 65. The neighborhood had changed a lot. Big companies were buying old buildings and replacing small businesses with chain stores. Maria received an offer for her building, more money than she had ever imagined. The company wanted to tear down her bakery and build luxury apartments. Maria thought about it for weeks. She could take the money and retire comfortably. She was tired. Her hands hurt from decades of kneading dough. Her feet hurt from standing for long hours. Maybe it was time to rest. But then she thought about all the people who depended on the bakery. The customers who came every morning for their coffee and bread. The free bread basket that fed hungry families. The job she provided for 2 young employees. The gathering place where neighbors met and talked. Was money worth more than all of that? She decided to sell. She was too old to fight the big company, and she needed to think about her future. She announced that the bakery would close in 1 month. The neighborhood was heartbroken. Customers came to tell Maria how much the bakery meant to them. "This is where I came every morning after my wife died," one old man said. "Your smile and conversation kept me going." A mother said, "Your free bread fed my kids when I lost my job. You never made me feel ashamed." A teenager said, "You gave me my first job and taught me that hard work matters. You believed in me." Maria listened to all these stories, and she realized something profound. The bakery had never really been about bread. It had been about community, connection, kindness, and love. Those things didn't end just because the building was sold. Those things lived in people's hearts. On the final day, Maria baked one last batch of bread. As the sun rose, she remembered everything. Her hungry childhood, Mrs. Chen's teachings, Daniel's love, Sophie's transformation, all the customers who became family. Every memory was baked into her final loaves. At noon, the bakery was packed with people who came to say goodbye. Maria stood behind the counter, tears in her eyes, and said, "Thank you. Thank you for 40 years of letting me serve you. Thank you for making this bakery my home. Thank you for teaching me that the most important thing in life is love. Not romantic love only, but love for neighbors, love for strangers, love for community." Then something amazing happened. Sophie walked through the door. She was now 35, successful and confident. Behind her came Mr. Thomas, who had given Maria that loan decades ago. Behind him came dozens of other people Maria had helped over the years. Sophie stepped forward and said, "Maria, you changed my life. You changed all our lives. We can't let your bakery disappear." So we pooled our money together. Everyone here contributed what they could. We matched the company's offer. The building is yours. You can retire if you want, but the bakery will continue. I'll run it. We'll keep your recipes, your traditions, your spirit. Your legacy won't die. Maria couldn't believe it. She looked at all these faces, young and old, rich and poor, different colors and backgrounds, all united by their connection to her little bakery. The circle was complete. She had helped people and now they were helping her. The love she had given out for 40 years. Maria had come back to her, multiplied 1,000 times. "I don't know what to say," Maria whispered, crying. "Except thank you. And yes, please keep the bakery open. Keep making bread. Keep giving to those who need it. Keep being a place where people feel welcome and loved. That's all I ever wanted." The final rising stayed on at the bakery for another year, teaching Sophie everything she knew. She taught her the secret recipes, but more importantly, she taught her the philosophy. Bake with love. Give with dignity. See every customer as a friend. Remember that we're not just selling food. We're creating connections. On Maria's last day of work before retirement, she arrived at 4 in the morning, just like she had done for decades. She mixed the dough one final time, feeling its familiar texture in her hands. As she kneaded, she thought about her journey. She had started with nothing, a poor girl from a broken family. But because of kindness, Mrs. Peterson's dignified help, her mysterious angel's generosity, Mrs. Chen's trust, Daniel's love, her community's support, she had built a beautiful life. She hadn't become rich or famous. She hadn't changed the whole world. But she had changed her corner of it. She had fed hungry people. She had given jobs to those who needed them. She had created a place where people felt they belonged. She had loved and been loved. As the bread baked and filled the air with its comforting smell, Maria smiled. This smell, warm, homey, welcoming, was the smell of her life's work. Every loaf was a prayer. Every customer an opportunity to spread kindness. Every day a chance to make the world a little bit better. Sophie arrived early that morning to work alongside Maria for the last time. "Are you sad?" she asked. Maria thought about it. "No," she said. "I'm grateful. I got to do meaningful work. I got to help people. I got to love and be loved. That's all anyone can ask for in a life." "What will you do now?" Sophie asked. Maria smiled. "I'll rest. I'll visit my brother Carlos. I'll volunteer at the community center. I'll be someone's angel just like someone was mine. There's still so much love to give." As they worked together, the morning sun rose higher, filling the bakery with golden light. The first customers began arriving, and Maria greeted each one with a warm smile, just like always. That evening, after the last customer left and the lights were turned off, Maria stood in the doorway one final time. She looked at the ovens that had baked thousands of loaves, the counter where she had served tens of thousands of customers, the little table by the window where Daniel used to sit and wait for her during her breaks. "Thank you," she whispered to the empty room. "Thank you for being my purpose. Thank you for teaching me what matters. Thank you for letting me be useful." She locked the door and walked home through the familiar streets, her heart full. She had lived a good life. Not a perfect life, but a meaningful one. She had received kindness and given it back. She had suffered loss and found strength. She had built something that would outlast her. And perhaps that was the greatest gift of all. Knowing that the love you give continues even after you're gone, rippling out in ways you'll never fully see, touching lives you'll never fully know, making the world a little bit brighter, one kind act at a time. Maria smiled as she walked, remembering her father's words from so long ago. The greatest wealth in life isn't money. It's family. It's standing together. It's loving each other. He was right. And Maria had lived those words every single day. Her life was proof that one person, armed with nothing but kindness and determination, could make a difference. Her legacy wasn't buildings or money. Her legacy was love, given freely, received gratefully, and passed forward endlessly. The circle was complete, yet it would never end. It would keep turning, kept in motion by all the people Maria had touched, who would touch others, who would touch still others, creating an endless ripple of kindness spreading out into the world. And that was enough. That was everything. Now that you've seen the whole story, we would really appreciate it if you rate it from 1 to 10 in the comments. Your thoughts help us improve and make sure we bring you the kind of stories you truly enjoy.